Hi, my name is Sarah Savage and I'm a licensed genetic counselor at FDNA. Today I'm going to show you Face2Gene Clinic and Face2Gene Forum on the web version. You can also access the mobile version by finding the Face2Gene app in the App Store. The purpose of this video is to walk you through the process of adding a new patient case and getting you comfortable with some of the features inside Face2Gene. To start with, go to www.face2gene.com. Here you can log in, or if you don't already have an account, you can create one for free. Remember, Face2Gene is intended to be used by healthcare professionals only, so we'll ask you some questions about your professional credentials, and it's really helpful if you can provide as much information there as possible to help us more quickly activate your account. So once you've set up your account, you can simply log in using your Face2Gene email and password. When you log in, the first view you'll see is the Face2Gene case dashboard. Here you'll see a count of your cases and you'll be able to look at each individual case. For me, this includes not only my own cases, but also any cases that have been shared with the team that I'm a part of. So if you're a member of a team, you can also see team cases in this view. For each case, you'll see a case ID number, case name, what type of case it is, whether it's your own or a team case, the owner of that case, when it was last modified, whether it's part of any particular forum, the status of the case, whether it's pending or diagnosed, and you'll also be able to delete your own cases or pin certain cases to the top of your view. By clicking this little star icon, you'll be able to make sure certain cases are pinned to the top for your convenience. Using this dashboard, you can sort your cases using any of these columns. And you can also use our filtering menu. So say you'd like to only view your own cases, you can set that as a filter. Or perhaps you only want to see cases that are marked as diagnosed. You can also filter cases using this search bar. So perhaps you want to filter based on case name. You can do that here. You can open any of your existing cases for editing and ongoing management of the case, or also using this dashboard view, you can create a new case. So I'm going to show you how to create a new case. You can either use this tab or click this orange plus icon to create the case. And once you press it, it'll open up a new case and you'll be able to start filling in the information on that case. So once you've created a new case, one of the first things I like to do is add a photo. If you scroll down to the exam visit section, you'll see a photo icon here that allows you to upload photos from your computer. So when you click that, it will open up your file system and you'll be able to select the photo files that you'd like to add to your case. And here is already analyzing this photo. It's important to point out that photos that you enter into Face2Gene are not stored on any mobile device and they're only available to you or individuals that you specifically elect to share them with. So we do consider photos PHI and we keep those private and available only at your discretion. So they're not shared with any other Face2Gene users or even with the Face2Gene team. Once you've added a photo or multiple photos, they would all live here and you can access those photos here to make any edits you'd like. So that includes the ability to physically rotate or crop your picture. So if you've added a picture with multiple faces in it, for example, you can select the face that's relevant to this case. You can also note whether it's a frontal photo or some other type of photo. Some people also add family member pictures, lateral views, or even views of the hands and feet. And some people like to add a PDF of the photo consent so that they can keep it right with that patient photo. You can add a description and you can confirm the date that the photo was taken. If you want, you can always remove a photo by clicking this little delete icon, or if you want to download a photo for use in, say, a publication or a presentation, you can click this download icon. And if you want to add more photos, you can either use this plus button here, or there's also still a plus button on this main page. So once you've added a patient photo, some of the next things you might want to do are start to fill in the case information. We have a field here for patient case name. And some people like to use actual patient name, others use MRN, or you may have some sort of coding mechanism you like to use for labeling your cases. This field is intended to be used simply by you to keep track of your cases. And like the photo, it's considered PHI, so it's kept private only to you. You can also then start to select some information about your case. So you can confirm or update the date of visit, You can select whether you're keeping this case private to yourself, or if you're a member of a team, you can share it with your team. You can add a date of birth. Note gestational age, gender, and ethnicity. Once you've added age or date of birth and gender, you'll also be able to use our growth charts. So here you can enter growth measurement information on your patient, and you'll see that as I add this information, it will begin to plot it on a curve. And you can view those growth curves here and see how your patient plots on the curve. Some people like to use other measurements in addition to height, weight, and head circumference. So we do have other types of measurements here that you can select and plot on a curve. So for example, you like to use hand length measurement or intercanthal distance, something like that. Finally, you can use this patient notes field to make any notes you'd like to make about your patient over time. So once you've entered a photo to your Face2Gene case, that photo can be analyzed by the Face2Gene system in order to identify best match syndromes for you to consider for your patient. Keep in mind the actual photo itself is only ever accessible to you and is not pulled into the Face2Gene system. Instead, we actually extract de-identified digital data that represents the face, and it's that digital data that's compared in our learning database in order to come up with best match syndromes. So you'll see down here below, we've come up with a list. We start with the top 10 good matches, and you can review each of these syndromes and start to explore whether any of them might be a good match for your patient. Of course, at a glance, if there are any you see that you just know are not true for your patient, you can use this top right hand little X to dismiss that particular syndrome from your list. Just know that any of those syndromes that you've dismissed will not go away completely. They'll actually just live down here under dismissed syndromes. So if you'd ever like to revive them and bring them back to your list, you can do that. Of course, if you'd like to see additional syndromes, you can click Show More and see other syndromes that might be well matched, but we'll always populate the best match to the top. And then what you can do is start to explore each of these syndromes to determine whether any of them might be a good match for your patient. So you open each syndrome card with that little expansion icon at the bottom right, and then you can start to explore how well this syndrome might match your patient in a variety of ways. The first way is that you can use our unique visualization tools to compare your patient photo to either a composite photo, which we can generate based on actual cases with this particular diagnosis, or you could even compare it to other known cases with that diagnosis. So one of the things you can do is apply this heat map view, which will show in red to orange the areas that are most similar, or in green to blue the areas that are least similar between your patient and our composite image. You can also use the split view to kind of get an idea how your patient visually may compare to, in this case, this composite image, or you could even compare to other patients who are known to have this particular diagnosis. See whether there are any areas that are very similar or very different. You can also look at information that's pulled out of the London medical databases to learn about this syndrome. And if you scroll to the bottom, you can find some other reference materials that you can link out to. On the right-hand side, you'll see a list of features which are known to be typically associated with Prader-Willi syndrome, or in some cases will populate this list with any features that the system may have detected in your patient. But we always leave it up to the clinician to note whether these features are true or not true for the patient. So for example, maybe this patient had history of failure to thrive and poor suck, currently presents with obesity and some feeding issues, developmental delay. So you can really start to flesh out your patient's full phenotypic profile. You can also note any features that are not true, and that's why we leave this up to the clinician. If there are any particular features that you want to understand better, we have these little tooltips where you can read about the feature or even sometimes see some example images. You can also look at a list of potentially related genes, and in the same way you can explore each of those genes. So once you've selected features that are true of your patient, if you click apply, you'll find that this list is now going to recalculate, now considering not just the facial data, but also the phenotypic data that you've entered. So you can see it's recalculating, and now it's come up with a fresh view of our list, and we can see that Prader-Willi syndrome, now we've filled in our feature meter and it's fairly high, but we've also pulled up some new syndromes just based on those features. So again, you can start to explore which one might be best and most similar to your patient. Another nice way to start to review syndromes that might be associated with your patient is to use this Refine Phenotype button. So when you open up this view, you'll see here a list of any of the syndromes which have populated as potentially relevant to this patient, any genes that are associated with those syndromes, and any features that are associated with those syndromes. So here is sort of a one-stop shopping. You can explore these features and start to continue expanding on your patient's phenotypic data. You can also search here if there are particular features that you'd like to add for your patient that you don't happen to see right away on your list. Of course, you can also explore genes or even select syndromes as potentially of interest to you. So here we can say we're going to note Prader-Willi syndrome as a differential, and perhaps Prader-Willi-like syndrome is another differential that we'd like to consider. And again, since we've added some features, when we press apply, it's going to update our list. But you can see it's already pinned to the top these syndromes that we've marked as a differential. Now, if you, in continuing to explore your patient's features, if you decide that you'd like to note something as a clinical diagnosis, you can do so. And if you actually go on to pursue genetic testing and get a result that's relevant, you can mark something as molecularly diagnosed. And you'll see that when you mark a case syndrome as diagnosed, it will change the status of your case to diagnosed. It's really important to remember that the Face2Gene database is actually a learning database. So with every case that is marked with a particular diagnosis, the database has an opportunity to learn and have another example of facial data or phenotypic data that's associated with that syndrome. So it becomes just that much more familiar and smarter in relation to that particular syndrome. So it's really helpful for users who will mark a case as either clinically or molecularly diagnosed, because that really helps the system learn. When you've finished working on a case, you may wish to create a report to summarize all the information that you've captured. You can do that by clicking on this little clipboard icon near the top right. This will open a page that gives you some options in how you want to create that report. So you'll see here that we have right now 3 options, including standard report, which includes all the case info, custom report, where you can pick and choose which info to include, or the non-PHI report, which excludes any PHI data from the case. In this case, I'm going to choose the standard report, including everything, so you'll see that my report includes general info, my photos, measurements, any syndromes that were suggested and those that I have selected as of interest to me, and any features that I've marked as present or absent. When I click Preview Report, you'll see an example of how this report will look, and I'll have the choice to print this report either as an actual paper document or as a PDF. You may also want to share your patient case with colleagues and collaborators. Right now, we've shared it with our clinical team, but if we'd like to share it with colleagues outside of our clinical team, we have a few options to do so. Just keep in mind that when you choose to share outside of your clinical team, you may require additional consent beyond the photo consent that you've already captured. To share in this way, go to the sharing icon near the top right, and there you'll see some options for how you can share the case. One option is to share with specific colleagues, which you can do by entering the email of those colleagues here. If those colleagues are Face2Gene users, they'll be able to access the case right in Face2Gene, and if they're not, they'll get a notification that enables them to join Face2Gene to access your case right in the system. You can also share with your team forum if you're a member of a team, or you can share with the Face2Gene unknown forum, which is a forum of cases that's available only to clinicians, and in this case, particularly to genetic counselors and geneticists. So right now I'm going to share with my team forum, and you'll see that all the following information will be included in the information I share to this forum. You can include a summary and all the information that has been presented to you or captured by you. And when I click to share this case, it will be added to my team forum. And my team members who view this forum will be able to click to follow my case, or they'll be able to view it and provide specific comments to help me think through this case. And I can show you that the view of my team forum looks like this. You can see the case that I've just added, and you can also see other cases that have been added by me in the past or by my other team members. And for each of these cases, we're all able to work together to comment on each other's cases and provide feedback. You can access your forums by going to the forums link at the top right of this view, and you'll see on this page any forums that you are included in. So in my case, this includes my team forum, the unknown forum, and several other forums. The Face2Gene Unknown Forum is a really interesting way to work together with colleagues around the world to review your case for a clinical consultation or even to help others review their own cases. So you can see here that there are a number of cases that have been entered, and there's very active commentary from some of the top dysmorphologists around the world and users of the Face2Gene system. So we can explore an example here. So here's a case that has already been entered by a particular clinician. They've shared some photos, an abstract summarizing what they're thinking about the case, as well as all the information that they've captured in Face2Gene. And then you see that we've got some wonderful commentary by clinician users of the Face2Gene system. So this is a really nice way to use Face2Gene to work together and try to narrow in on a diagnosis for your patient. Thanks for joining me today to learn a little bit about Face2Gene. I hope you found this helpful. Of course, if you have any additional questions or need help, you can always contact us at support@fdna.com, or you can use this little icon on the bottom right to have a direct conversation with any of our team members anytime you have any problems or any questions.